Welcome to the Speak to Influence podcast. I'm Karen Sachs, and I am so glad to be with you tonight. Have you ever noticed that there are times when some people walk into a room and people automatically pay attention to them? It's not their title or their influence or necessarily even their personality. There's just something about them that makes people want to pay attention. It's not anything specific, but it's these subtle, invisible behaviors that make people respect you. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Now, I want you to picture standing in a room and three different groups of people walking in. The first group is a bunch of rowdy boys, teenagers. They're cussing, they're loud, they're rambunctious. They come in the room and your body reacts a certain way. Then they go over in the corner and do their thing. Next, in comes a woman, maybe a wife and mom, maybe works outside of the home. She's dressed in a pretty normal way, and she just walks in with a big smile on her face and then goes and does her thing. And then third, a businesswoman comes in a suit, very, very straight posture, walks in, doesn't really smile, just enters a room and goes and does her thing. Now you have a different reaction to each one of those groups. Some of them you feel automatic trust, others you feel a little apprehension, others you feel some respect for. It doesn't matter which group you feel what for, but the bottom line is you feel something. Jay, welcome. It's great to see you tonight. That is the subtle, invisible behaviors that happen that help us know whether we should trust and respect a person that we meet. Now, the human brain is constantly in scanning mode. It's always looking for areas of concern or reasons that they need to be defensive. And so whenever the human brain looks at someone walk into a room or start a conversation or meet someone, the brain automatically is asking a couple of questions. The first question is, can I trust you? Are you going to waste my time? Can I rely on you? Are you honest? And so when the brain is subconsciously asking all of those questions, it's important to know what the answers are. And you don't usually go out and just ask someone up front, hi, I'm Karen. Can I trust you? Are you going to waste my time today? I just want to know in advance. It doesn't work that way. So what happens is the brain starts looking at little indicators that you share without even realizing it. Those are the things I want to talk about. Now, one of the key ways that affects how people perceive you is how you enter a room. Do you enter with confidence, or do you sort of slink in? Are you racing in all harried and frazzled? Or are you just entering with confidence? That's one of the first indicators that people see that helps them determine whether you're someone that they think they can trust and respect. The second is eye contact. Do you make good eye contact with people? Or do you sort of shift your eyes around and look all over the place, except the faces of the people you're talking to? The third thing is a relaxed posture. First of all, relaxed does not mean slumping your shoulders. What it means is standing tall, but relaxed and comfortable. Because when people feel you being comfortable, they are being comfortable. Hey, Bill, welcome. I'm glad you're here tonight. People feel your emotion. They feel when you are relaxed. They feel when you're calm. And that can transcend an entire room when you are calm and relaxed. Which brings us to our fourth point, and that's your breathing. Is your breathing calm? Or are you a little nervous and breathing fast and getting kind of airy and breathy when you talk? Those are indicators that you're nervous. And people don't usually easily trust someone who's nervous. There's a reason that you're nervous. And so that ties into, can I trust you? Can I respect you? If you're nervous about something, then maybe I should be nervous too. So now I get nervous and that makes me feel uncomfortable. So calm breathing is really important. The next is waiting to respond. A real leader with executive presence doesn't just answer a question right away. There's just a millisecond pause before they respond, where they're processing their thoughts. That is a great sign of a leader with executive presence. Listening without interrupting is another area that is hugely important. It's easy to get distracted when you're listening. It's easy to plan the next words that you want to say, or jump in when you feel like the person is going off track, or you feel like they've over-explained and they've talked too long. But that's not what a good leader does. That's not executive presence. What you want to do is listen with full presence. Even if they're rambling, even if they're over-explaining, give them the courtesy and respect and listen with your full attention. And finally, speaking at a measured pace. You want to make sure that you're speaking with vocal variety, which means sometimes you're going to be talking a little faster, and other times you'll be talking a little more slowly, a little more deliberately, and maybe taking pauses to emphasize your point. You want to make sure that people can read your behavior before they hear your words. That is how people determine whether they should respect you or not. So what are some things that people do that tell them that maybe you're not that trustworthy, that maybe I need to keep my guard up a little bit longer? Well, there are a couple of things, because you don't usually lose respect all at once. You lose it in very small increments because of things that you do. And here are some of the things. Excuse me, please. Let me just get a little drink of water here. I apologize. Anyway, some of the things that we do that can affect people's respect for us or gradually chip it away are things like over-explaining. This is where you hear me talk about the point first communication, where you don't build up to your point. You start with the end in mind. So for example, instead of saying, I have weighed all of the points, I've carefully evaluated recommendation A, B, and C, and after careful deliberation, I have decided to choose recommendation B. That is over-explaining and over-talking. What you can do is get right to the point. I have selected recommendation B. Second part, briefly explain why. I believe that it's going to be better for our customer satisfaction recommendations because of XYZ. And then the third step is determine the next actions or next step. And 4, stop talking. You won't over-explain or ramble that way. What you'll do is you talk about the point first, the brief explanation, the next steps or action items, and then you stop talking. That type of concise talking behavior really helps people respect you because you're not wasting their time and you're getting right down to the bottom line. A second thing that people care about is talking too much. I have a client who talks incessantly and they don't understand why people don't want to spend time with them. It's not that what they say is wrong or that they're rude. It's that they dominate the conversation. People do not like to communicate with others that are dominating the conversation. They don't want a monologue, they want a dialogue. So if you're talking too much, indicators are things that like people aren't as inclined to want to talk to you, as well as people getting easily distracted when they're listening to you. So stop over-explaining, stop talking too much. And the third is to stop interrupting. Too many people plan in advance while the other person is speaking what they're going to say next. That's not listening. Listening is giving someone your undivided attention. And then when they stop speaking, take a millisecond to get your thoughts together and then start talking. Interrupting is rude. Now, that doesn't mean that as a speaker, you don't have a role in impacting interrupting as well. If you're over explaining or you're talking too much, that's bound to make people want to interrupt you. The other thing as a speaker is that if you ask questions like, does that make sense? And are you with me? Or what would you do in that situation? That's encouraging the listener to stay focused on you because you're asking them a question. And it also helps them to know what they're going to say to you next. So you want to stop over explaining, talking too much, interrupting. Another big one is constantly apologizing. Saying things like, well, I don't know if this is right, or I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, or I'm sorry if you disagree with my opinion. Stop apologizing for believing your thoughts. Stop apologizing for talking. Those are credit debilitating, credibility debilitating, respect debilitating behaviors. Stop apologizing. And the other thing is stop seeking approval. Sometimes we spend so much time wanting the other person to like us that we embellish and just keep complimenting them incessantly about things so that they'll like us. Or we exaggerate certain behaviors or certain stories so that people will think more highly of us. People can read through that. And that is not a respect building behavior. So you want to, the other two things are stop complaining. People have their own problems and their own issues. They don't need to hear your complaints too. And finally, you want to not be defensive. It is easy to get defensive if you feel that you're being attacked or if you're constantly being interrupted, if you feel that someone is questioning your credibility. If those are the things that are happening, you are wanting to defend yourself. However, don't. Take a deep breath and don't make it personal. Ask the person, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Or, it seems like you're upset about. Get to the bottom of the issue. Find out why the person is saying the things that they're saying. Because in most cases, the person is not attacking you. They're not trying to make it about you. They're simply expressing a frustration about something. So don't jump to conclusions and assume that you have a reason to be defensive. So just to summarize, and I'm looking at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Stop over explaining, stop talking too much, stop seeking approval, stop interrupting, stop apologizing, stop complaining, and don't get defensive. Those are the things that tear down respect one small action at a time. One of the biggest things about being having executive presence and earning respect is being calm. That's calm in your presentation. That's calm in your demeanor. That's being emotionally stable through all situations. You want to make sure that you are leading the room from an emotional standpoint. And calm is a way to do that. Remain composed and don't react to things right away. Think before you speak. And when you are emotionally charged, speak more slowly. It helps control your emotions and the emotions of the people around you. Because the calmest person in the room is often the person who leads the room. Again, the calmest person in the room often is the one who leads the room. So be calm in what you're doing. Now, there are 5 daily practices that are going to help you to be the kind of person that people respect when you walk in the room. And the first is to practice listening completely. You want to make sure that you're giving the speaker your undivided attention. The second is pause before you answer. You want to give yourself that millisecond to compose your thoughts, to let the other person thoroughly stop speaking and what they said to be able to distill in your brain a little bit before you open your mouth. As they used to say about my brother, you want to make sure that you're loading your brain before you shoot off your mouth. And you shouldn't be doing that when the other person is talking. Number 3, pause. Speak more slowly and take pauses so that you can emphasize points. Pause before key thoughts. Pause before numbers and dates and names. Pause after you have just finished explaining a key point so that people can digest what you're saying. And that's all part of that calm demeanor that you're presenting. And finally, take ownership. Take ownership of what you're saying and take ownership of your mistakes. Respect isn't about charisma or dominance. It isn't being loud. It's the accumulation of hundreds of little things that you say and you do that build your respect with other people. Respect isn't something that you ask for, it's something that you earn. It's something that people observe from you and choose to respect you. So instead of their brain questioning, can I respect you? Can I trust you? Are you going to waste my time? Your brain gets the automatic answer to that based on what you say and what you do, more importantly. I'm sure you've heard the phrase in terms of children, it's not what you say, it's what you do. Modeling is critical, and modeling creates a behavior that people will either respect or not respect. So which one are you doing? I hope tonight's message has been a good one for you. If it has, I encourage you to join my free Act Like a Great Communicator school, where you can get free daily messages and a once a week free masterclass at noon on Wednesdays, Eastern Daylight Time. I would love to be here to share some information where we can dialogue and where you can practice your communication skills. Because great communicators make more money, earn more opportunities, and have deeper relationships. And I want that for you. Thanks for being with me tonight, Jay, Bill. I appreciate you being with me live. And for all of you watching the replay, thanks for investing your time with me. Have a great week, everyone.